Since Civic Platform politicians did not want to talk to farmers, protesters gathered in front of the parliamentary offices of coalition MPs of the 13th December coalition. In Wrocław, there was a sudden accidental door malfunction and politicians did not meet farmers. There is a time for everyone, and for farmers there is no time. We really are not an inferior category of people. Please remember, we are the ones who feed the Polish nation and Europe. We are the ones who care about the quality and safety of what we consume. In Płock, farmers came to see Interior and Administration Minister Marcin Kierwiński. The politician was not there, of course, but his assistant undertook to convey the farmers' demands. The unions presented the head of the Interior Ministry with a peculiar gift. We came to bring it to him and carry it as a gift from us, as a token of not coming out to us, despite our earlier declaration when a notice arrived in his email box 7 days ago that we would like to meet him and present our demands. In parallel, the sit-in at the Ministry of Agriculture continued until late this afternoon. Today there were talks with the Minister of Agriculture. The farmers were assured that the meeting with the Prime Minister, which they had expected, would take place next week. We are leaving here perhaps not completely satisfied, but there is a certain progress that makes us, as Solidarity, care about agriculture in the broadest sense and all agricultural departments. The government is clearly escalating the situation. Deputy Agriculture Minister Michał Kołodziejczak called the protesting farmers blackmailers. I, for one, am not going to talk to those who, in the form of blackmail, want to play politics here and stage their demands. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk, at a campaign rally, attacked farmers, accusing them of failing to protest during the Law and Justice government. When we started shouting about Ukrainian grain, I did not see them blocking the street. The Prime Minister also announced that he does not intend to close the Polish-Ukrainian border. I will not block the border with Ukraine in a situation in which the fate of Ukraine is decided within these months. Dialogue is only possible when both sides decide to talk. However, today it turned out the time to come to it next week. But what will be the result? No one knows. Donald Tusk believes that farmers are not his electorate. 64% of farmers voted for Law and Justice, so he won't deal with them. He is not interested in their demands, just as when he raises VAT on food. He's not interested in what poorer Poles will suffer in this situation. Farmers demand the same thing all the time. That is, a complete break with the Green Deal and an embargo on products from outside the European Union, including Ukraine. Paweł Błoch, TV Republika. The last 2 days have seen more than 400 attempts to illegally cross the Polish-Belarusian border. Border guards are now being helped by a fence built by the Law and Justice government, which the current government now wants to strengthen. We are starting the process of strengthening the barrier. This will strengthen the security of our country. Question: why did politicians of the current government and Donald Tusk himself attack the construction of the fence when they were still in opposition? He will put up a wall and a fence, a wall, and still preferably have electricity connected to the fence. We will not support them in such ambiguous ventures and ideas. But before the wall was built nearly 3 years ago, the Lukashenko regime, with the support of Moscow, hybridized the attack on our country with thousands of illegal immigrants. At that time, Tusk's Civic Coalition attacked the United Right government for, in their view, inhumane treatment of illegal migrants, demanding their immediate entry. Let these people into Poland at last. Who they are will be determined later. It's as if these people have declared war on us. These are poor people who are looking for their place on earth, and there is no need to make such disgusting, grim propaganda against migrants, because these people are people who need help. Are you now going to the border to support the Polish-Belarusian border? It wasn't so long ago that you were on the border. You attacked officers, soldiers. I was on the border at a completely different time and under different circumstances. And now they are not poor people. Now it is possible to defend the Polish border normally, Madam Speaker? Yes, the circumstances have changed. The opposition came to power, and that's it. But migrants are no longer poor people, but a threat from the east. The majority, more than 90%, are men. No one doubts that the migration route through Belarus to Poland is an artificial route created by Belarusian security services. Which immigrants? On the Polish-Belarusian border? I do not know the case. I think you know the case perfectly well, but what happened so suddenly that the Civic Platform changed its mind? Minister Kierwiński yesterday, for example. I ask you not to disturb me because I have a meeting. I'm going to a meeting. And so, on the way, you can answer the senator. What happened? These are no longer poor people in need of help. I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you because you are not a reliable journalist. Please leave me alone because I will ask the guard. Senator, I'm asking the questions. Please step aside. I'm not talking to you. Running away from answering, threatening us with the marshal's guard. It must be admitted he is not running as quickly as Franciszek Sterczewski. There will be no more Civic Coalition deputies at the border with commercials or with pizza? Asked the MPs, the Civic Coalition MPs who were there. We decided to ask. Good morning. Adrian Boretsky, TV Republica. Just one quick question regarding the Polish-Belarusian border. When will you appear at the border? And silence again. It's hard to explain such a change of attitude. No one was in any doubt that you can't cross the border illegally because it is absolutely unacceptable. When the Law and Justice Party followed such logic, opponents of the government did everything to attack the authorities at that time, despite the fact that on the border, since the change of power, not much has changed, which is admitted by supporters of the current government. To put it simply, the Civic Coalition, while in opposition, played politics with Poland's security. It was a great deception, also a great manipulation, misleading people, and many unfortunately believed it. Who was right? This is of course known. And it is known who built the fence and prevented the flooding of our country with illegal immigrants that Putin and Lukashenko are exploiting. Adrian Boretsky, TV Republica.
Nie mam żadnych wątpliwości, że Izrael powinien wypłacić odszkodowanie rodzinie.
I have no doubts that Israel should pay compensation to the family of our citizen killed in Gaza. The compensation should be appropriate, and I hope that such compensation will be paid in an honest and fair way, because that's what is owed, regardless of the cause of this event, whether it was an accident or any other situation. Numerous different statements have been made recently, unfortunately also from the Israeli side. I'm referring here to the statements of the Israeli ambassador to our country. I will put it in the most delicate way possible. The statements were very unfortunate, in short, outrageous. And I will tell you, ladies and gentlemen, what my assessment is. Today, Mr. Ambassador is the biggest problem for Israel when it comes to relations with Poland.
Moja ocena jest taka, że dzisiaj pan ambasador jest największym problemem dla państwa Izrael w relacjach z Polską.
Będziemy oczekiwali zarówno pełnego wyjaśnienia.
We will expect a full explanation, an immediate explanation of the circumstances of this tragedy, the compensation for the relatives of the victims of the attack. But I would really appreciate, and it is in the interest of Israel, for the representatives of Israel here in Poland, especially in such circumstances, respect the Poles' emotions, the justified ones. I would like to only say that I absolutely do not accept the way Mr. Ambassador communicates. If he decided to speak publicly in Polish media, he should use this opportunity to say a simple human sorry.
Jeśli już decyduje się na wystąpienia publiczne w naszych mediach, to powinien wykorzystać tę okazję, żeby powiedzieć zwykłe takie ludzkie przepraszam.
The Israeli army has confirmed that it is the perpetrator of a rocket attack on a humanitarian convoy delivering food in the Gaza Strip, which killed a 35-year-old Polish man and 7 volunteers, and halted the organization's operations in the region. In addition to the Pole, the fatalities include Australian and British citizens and one person with US-Canadian citizenship. A Palestinian driver was also killed. Israel's ambassador has not apologized for Israel's attack on volunteers in the Gaza Strip. It was a mistake. Such things happen in war, he said. The Israeli ambassador will be summoned to the foreign ministry at 10 a.m. tomorrow. The Haaretz news portal reports that soldiers thought they spotted a suspicious figure on a truck that entered the area of the humanitarian aid depot, along with 3 World Central Kitchen vehicles. However, the shelling occurred when the 3 WCK cars had left the depot, at which time they were no longer accompanied by the truck on which the armed person was said to be. United States Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, in a conversation with Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, urged the latter to conduct a swift and transparent investigation, make the findings available to the public, and hold those responsible accountable. The attitude of the Israeli ambassador to Poland, however, raises serious questions. But it is difficult to understand the lack of an appropriate response when a young Polish citizen is tragically killed, a volunteer. The Israeli ambassador to Poland is scheduled to appear at the Foreign Ministry headquarters tomorrow. Edita Holdinska, TV Republica. NATO foreign ministers celebrated the 75th anniversary of their alliance on Thursday with cake and marching band, while its Secretary General reminded the United States that it needed its allies more than ever as the Ukraine war enters its 3rd year. Meeting for a second day in Brussels, the ministers marked the signing in Washington on April 4th, 1949, of the North Atlantic Treaty that established the transatlantic political and military alliance.
We tried to embrace Russia, but we knew that the potential for violence was there. Unfortunately, Russia is on the march again. But happily, we are where we belong, in the company of democracies, among friends, at home, resisting again, like a rock, let's prevail again.
Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg said NATO not only strengthens Europe's security, but also makes North America stronger.
Europe needs America for its security. Fair burden sharing is essential, and Europe is investing more, much more. This year, the majority of NATO allies will invest at least 2% of their GDP in defense. At the same time, North America also needs Europe. European allies provide world-class militaries, vast intelligence networks, and unique diplomatic leverage, multiplying America's might. To NATO, the United States has more friends and more allies than any other major power.
NATO began with 12 members from North America and Europe, founded in response to growing fears that the Soviet Union posed a military threat to European democracies. At its heart is the concept of collective defense, the idea that an attack on one member is considered an attack on all, giving United States military protection to Western Europe. 75 years on, it has 32 members and has retaken a central role in world affairs after Russia invaded Ukraine in February 2022, leading European governments to view Moscow once more as a major security threat.